Number 4, Steph Curry. Headed into the 2009 Summer League, Steph Curry was determined to prove all of his haters wrong. After a college career that saw him become a national sensation at Davidson, Curry was seen as a risky NBA prospect because scouts were unsure if his different style of play would translate to the NBA, where defenders were way more strong and way more athletic. Because of this desire to prove himself, it's really no surprise that Steph shot the ball a lot during the Summer League. What is a surprise is that these shots simply did not go in. It was clear that Curry was going to face a learning curve against the more physical play of NBA defenders, and so during the summer, he would struggle. His first game saw him shoot just 4 for 14 from the field, as he ended the game with 16 points, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, and 7 fouls. From there, he would finish his summer shooting just 26 for 80 from the field overall and had almost as many turnovers as he had assists. Meanwhile, the most shocking part about Curry's performance was that he was completely outplayed by 2 of his own teammates that would never make a single All-Star game combined. Because in the 2009 Summer League, Anthony Morrow would prove to be the best guard on the Warriors roster, finishing second in the entire Summer League with 24.7 points per game on 61% shooting. And somehow, another Warrior, Anthony Randolph, topped Morrow's performance, as Randolph led the Summer League with 26.8 points per game, as well as 8.5 rebounds, 2.2 steals, and 3 blocks a night, which just goes to show you just how random the Summer League can be. Number 3, Derrick Rose. Drafted number 1 overall by the Chicago Bulls in 2008, Derrick Rose was expected to become a hometown hero, which is why everyone was excited to watch, as in his Summer League debut, Rose went up against the only player that had threatened his chance of going number 1, Michael Beasley of the Miami Heat. Beasley was a beast coming out of college and had the ability to get buckets from almost anywhere on the court. This natural talent carried him to the second overall pick, but his work ethic, or lack of work ethic, or love of a certain something that rhymes with read, would eventually derail his NBA career. At the time though, this was the most anticipated game of the summer, with the so-called future of the NBA on display. And with all eyes on him, 19-year-old Derrick Rose looked somewhat shell-shocked by the magnitude of the moment. His first pro shot was a horrible airball, and things didn't get much better from there. He ended the game with 10 points, 4 assists, and 5 turnovers, and just overall looked a little lost on the court. On the other hand, Michael Beasley was absolutely dominant, putting up an effortless-looking 28.9 rebound beatdown on the Bulls. Derrick would only play in 1 more Summer League game that year, and he had another subpar performance, scoring only 9 points on 2 of 9 shooting. After that, he was shut down for the rest of the Summer League due to a minor knee injury, which unfortunately would be a sign of things to come. These poor performances, though, led to the media seriously questioning if the Bulls had made a mistake, as Beasley would finish the summer averaging almost 20 points and 8 rebounds a night. But as is a theme in this video, this poor Summer League showing would mean absolutely nothing for Derrick Rose. Less than a year later, he would be named the NBA's Rookie of the Year, and from there would go on to become the youngest MVP in NBA history. Michael Beasley, on the other hand, well, again, rhymes with read. Number 2, LeBron James. With the first overall pick of the 2003 draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers took LeBron James, the most hyped up basketball prospect since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. As an 18-year-old, LeBron was already given the nickname King James and was expected to save the Cavaliers franchise. However, by the time the 2003 Summer League was over, many were questioning if the nickname King James may have been a little premature. Now, looking at his overall stats of 15.8 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 4.3 assists per game, it does seem like LeBron's Summer League debut was respectful, but digging deeper, we can certainly see why some people were concerned. For one thing, LeBron's jump shot was proven to be horrible. He would brick jumper after jumper and finish the summer shooting 2 for 12 from 3 and shot just 37% overall from the field. What's more, seen as a playmaker coming into this draft, James would finish the summer with just 1 more assist than turnovers, and with him leading the team, the Cavs only won just 1 out of their 4 games. Which brings us to the actual games themselves, as 3 separate times LeBron saw himself completely outplayed by no-name opponents. Against the Celtics, J.R. Bremer, who would play just 2 seasons in the league, would finish with 28 points and 6 assists in a Celtics win. Against the Bucks, it was Marcus Haslip, a man who played in just 89 total games in the league, who would lead Milwaukee to a 20-point win behind his 18-point and 9-rebound performance. And finally, in the Cavs' last game of the summer, LeBron watched as Juan Dixon torched his team for 24 points and 7 steals, while LeBron, well, he looked like a boy amongst men. The young king would shoot just 2 for 14 from the field and finished with just 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist while turning the ball over 5 times in a 4-point Cavs loss. This was a horrible way for LeBron to end the summer league, but to be fair, he did show some flashes of greatness. And even when he did play great, even when he did meet the expectations of others, a young LeBron was not satisfied, as after a 25.5 assist performance, he would go on to say, "This was my C game." And of course, he was right, because LeBron James has gone on to be, well, LeBron James. And number 1, Tim Duncan. Another number 1 pick and future MVP, a young Tim Duncan was seen by the Spurs as the perfect successor for Hall of Fame center David Robinson. At Wake Forest, Duncan was fresh off a season in which he was named the National Player of the Year. This, of course, meant that expectations for Duncan were sky high, and because he had played in college for all 4 years, everyone pretty much expected Tim to dominate the summer league. And yes, you can probably guess what happens next, because when matched up against Jermaine O'Neal, then just an 18-year-old fresh off a rookie season that saw him average 4.1 points a game, the 21-year-old Duncan was dominated as he put up just 12 points compared to O'Neal's 23. Tim would later remember this game and say, "Jermaine O'Neal destroyed me." But this was nothing compared to what would happen next, because when matched up against Greg Ostertag, a man who would never average more than 7.3 points per game in his NBA career, Tim was again completely outplayed. Spurs fans were in shock as they watched Greg destroy Tim on both ends of the floor. Ostertag would put up 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks while leading the Jazz to an 85 to 59-point victory. Duncan would finish with just 14 points and 8 rebounds, and as he remembers, Ostertag, quote, "threw his stuff into the first couple of rows a few times." Greg Ostertag would also have a memorable monster dunk over Tim that completely shook him. Those 2 performances would change everything. Suddenly, the media began to question if Duncan's fundamental-based game would be able to translate over to the league. But as Tim later put it, "I'd been in college for 4 years, and that was great, but it's a different speed, it's a different strength, it's a different set of players, and I wanted to play as much as possible. So I jumped in the league, and I thought it helped me a bunch. It helped me tremendously."